our Starlink payload with our planet's SkySats.
T-minus 15 seconds.
Falcon 9 is configured for flight.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of Falcon 9 and Starlink Ocho.
T plus 40 seconds into flight, and Falcon 9 has just had a successful liftoff.
Telemetry are nominal.
A successful liftoff from pad 40 for its first Starlink rideshare, carrying 3 Planet SkySats and our SpaceX Starlink satellites. Next coming up will be Max Q, and that is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle sees, the largest structural load that the vehicle sees throughout ascent.
Max Q.
And there's that call out that we just passed through Max Q. Next up will be 3 events happening back to back, and that will be MECO, or main engine cutoff, stage separation, as well as second engine start, or SES-1. Main engine cutoff, or MECO, is when all 9 of the M1D engines shut off and slow the vehicle down in preparation for the next event, which is stage separation. And stage separation is where the first stage separates from the second stage, with first stage making its way back to Earth and second stage taking our satellites to their targeted orbit. And then finally will be SES-1, which is second engine start, with that MVAC engine lighting up and taking those...
The vehicle is following a nominal trajectory.
And taking those satellites to orbit. Now those 3 events are coming up here in about 15 seconds. Again, that is MECO, stage separation, and SES-1.
MECO. Stage separation confirmed.
And there, as you saw live on your screen, MECO, main engine cutoff, and stage separation. First stage being on your left screen. On your right screen is second stage with that MVAC engine glowing bright red there. On your left screen, you can see those grid fins deploying on the first stage. Those grid fins help.
Fairing separation confirmed.
And we just had fairing separation. We had a successful deployment of those fairing halves. Let's see if Miss Tree and Miss Chief can make a catch attempt today.
Vehicle continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
And as I was mentioning, the grid fins have deployed. That helps guide that first stage back to its landing zone.
Acquisition of signal, Bermuda.
Stage 2 is still looking good. We're getting a nice bright view of first stage on your left screen. And coming up next for first stage, as it makes its way back to Earth, it will perform a couple of burns, the first of which will be the entry burn. And that entry burn is where 3 of the 9 Merlin 1D engines light up and slow the stage down as it re-enters back into the upper part of the Earth's atmosphere. The second burn is called the landing burn, and this is when the single engine on the vehicle, the E9 engine, ignites and brings the vehicle speed down rapidly in order to land on the drone ship. And again, we are attempting to land on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You, today. We're getting a nice bright view. I believe that is the sun hitting that first stage on your left screen there. So really, really cool view of that. Second stage is still looking good. That is on your right screen. And at T plus 5.5 minutes, we're just about 1 minute and 15 seconds or so away from that entry burn beginning on that first stage.
Vehicle continues to follow a nominal trajectory.
There's that call out that the second stage vehicle is still on a good trajectory. And again, that first stage is making its way back to our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You. With the entry burn coming up here in about 30 seconds or so. Again, if you're just now joining us, what you can see on your left screen is first stage with those grid fins deployed, guiding the vehicle back to its landing zone.
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
Stage 1 entry burn has started.
And there you can see that the entry burn has begun. It's lighting up that screen pretty bright there. Now, the entry burn will last about 20 seconds long. And that completes the entry burn for first stage. We have a really cool view of Earth in the background of first stage. That is an awesome view. Stage 2 is still looking good. We're just about 1 minute away from that landing burn.
First stage from the Cape expected.
And we did hear that call out that we did lose that live signal of the first stage as expected. Coming up here in at about T plus 8 minutes and 21 seconds will be the beginning of the landing burn. Landing burn will last about 20 seconds long, and then hopefully we'll get to see first stage touch down on our drone ship, Of Course I Still Love You.
Stage 1 is transonic.
And about 10 seconds after landing of the first stage will be SECO 1 on second stage. So we will have a couple events happening very close to each other. So we'll listen in and wait for those call outs.
Stage 2 has entered terminal guidance.
Stage 1 landing burn has started.
And that landing burn has begun on the first stage. Again, this will last about 20 seconds long. Let's wait and watch to see if we can land this booster
Stage
for
2
a third
FTS
time.
is saved.
Stage 1 landing legs have deployed.
Wow, and we got a live, awesome view.
And
touchdown.
stage 1 has landed. Landing operators proceed to 11.100 on recovery 1 and ECF 9.
And there you heard that call out, and you can see on your left screen that stage 1 has landed on Of Course I Still Love You. We are waiting for stage 2 for SECO 1, which is second engine cutoff. What an awesome view of that first stage.
Nominal orbital insertion.
All right, starting TX prime RF1A on.
We did confirm
Acquisition of signal
SECO
Newfoundland, loss of
and
signal
confirmed
Cape
good
expected.
orbit. So now that second stage is going to coast in this orbit for a few minutes, we're going to take a quick break. ISATs. And as a reminder, today marks our first Starlink rideshare mission for our customer Planet. And it's worth mentioning that we may not actually see the deployment of these due to their placement on top of the Starlink stack, where we don't have cameras positioned. So we may have to rely on confirmation over the nets. So you can see on your screen, this is the view of the Starlink satellites, and the 3 SkySats
Loss
are
of
sitting
signal
on
Bermuda
top
expected.
of them. Should be hearing a call out for the first SkySat shortly. here.
SkySat 1 separation confirmed.
And there's that confirmation that that first SkySat has deployed. Now these 3 SkySats. Oh, and it looks like we can actually see there's that first SkySat satellite. Pretty awesome view. We should hear a call out for the second one here shortly. They're deploying in about 30-second increments here.
SkySat 2 separation confirmed.
And there's the confirmation for the second SkySat. And since we saw the first one, I think we should be able to see that second one shortly here as well. And there you can see it. Very cool views today. Now we just are waiting for that third and final SkySat here shortly.
SkySat 3 separation confirmed.
And there's confirmation of separation of that final SkySat. These 3 SkySats will be joining 15 already in orbit, and 3 more will be deploying on a separate Starlink mission later this summer, completing their fleet of 21 SkySats. Now stage 2 is going to continue to coast in this orbit for a few more minutes. During this time, it will start to spin on its central axis, giving the Starlink satellites the momentum that they need to space themselves out over time after they deploy at T+26 minutes. Welcome back to the webcast for Starlink. So before we went to a break, we saw the successful deployment of the 3 SkySat satellites, which were ride-sharing with Starlink. At T+26 minutes, our 58 Starlink satellites were set to deploy. Since we did not have ground station coverage at that time, we are currently waiting to connect with the next ground station, Diego Garcia, at T+39 minutes, so in about 30 seconds here, and get confirmation of a successful deployment. So we're just under 30 seconds away from connecting to that next ground station, and we'll be waiting for our teams to confirm deployment after we connect. So we're going to listen in here shortly and see if we have confirmation of our 58 Starlink satellites deployed.
Acquisition of signal Diego Garcia.
Is that confirmation of connection to the ground station?
Starlink tension rod separation confirmed.
And there is that confirmation of the tension rods deployed and the Starlink satellites deployed today. So shortly after they deployed, their solar arrays deployed as well, and over the next few days and weeks, they will distance themselves from each other with that momentum created by the second stage and use their onboard ion thrusters to make their way to their operational orbit of 550 kilometers above the Earth, and then start beaming down high-speed internet to Earth. As you may have seen during our last mission, we launched the first Starlink satellite with a deployable visor to block sunlight from hitting the brightest spots of the spacecraft. This demo satellite, also known as VisorSat, is just one of the many actions SpaceX has taken in collaboration with leading astronomical groups to mitigate the effects of satellite reflectivity. That first VisorSat has not yet reached its operational orbit, so we are still a few weeks away from seeing the results of that effort. However, we do have confidence in this design, coupled with all the measures we're taking to minimize Starlink's reflectivity. So we plan to equip all future Starlink satellites with deployable visors, starting with the next mission later this month.
Engine purge active. Daly's running.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Vehicles get back.
Stage 1 propulsion's nominal.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Well, after a brief hiatus, Electron is back in the skies heading to orbit. At T plus 35 seconds into flight, we're coming up to one of the first milestones of any mission to space, passing max Q. This is the point at which Electron will experience the highest amount of aerodynamic force on its way to orbit. Let's listen into the call from Mission Control.
Coming up on maximum dynamic pressure. Pass through max Q.
Stage 1 propulsion is holding nominal. Stand by.
And there you
for
have it.
Mika,
Electron
roughly
has
30
cleared
seconds.
max Q.
Entering burnout detect mode.
AOS Chatham Station.
Coming up next is main engine cutoff, or MECO, which occurs when the 9 Rutherford engines shut down after exhausting their fuel reserves. Upon shutdown, the empty stage is jettisoned so that stage 2 can ignite and continue on its journey to low Earth orbit.
30 seconds remaining. Altitude is 50 kilometers, speed is 1.6 kilometers per second. Seconds to staging.
MECO confirmed.
Stage 2 ignition confirmed.
Stage ignition successful.
That's the call we're looking for. We've had successful MECO, clean separation of Electron's first stage, and ignition of the vacuum-optimized Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage. We're approaching T plus 3 minutes into this mission with fairing separation coming up next.
Fairing separation complete.
And there it is on your screen. The fairing has separated, clearing the way for payload deployment, which occurs approximately 1 hour after
propulsion
liftoff.
is nominal.
For the next few minutes, you'll be hearing the word nominal quite a bit. The latest call was from Kevin Garcia, our Stage 2 operator. It's one of our favorite words at Rocket Lab, and it simply means everything is going as expected throughout the flight. On your left, you'll see a view of the operators in the mission control room. These are the people you've been listening to throughout the broadcast on the mission control net, and they're monitoring all things launch related, from propulsion and telemetry data all the way through to our network traffic. We've heard plenty of updates from George Buchanan, our GNC operator today. The Rocket Lab GNC team are actively recruiting for senior roles in our Photon satellite program, so if you have a solid background in mathematics or physics, head to our careers section at rocketlabusa.com for more info.
250 seconds remaining.
Stage 2 propulsion remains nominal.
Up next is the battery hot swap. This step is unique to Electron and its battery-powered pumps housed within the Rutherford engines. The pair of batteries that carried us thus far are nearing depletion, so to finish the job, we swap power over to a third fully charged battery. Let's wait for confirmation from Mission Control.
HVB battery discharge nominal, approaching hot swap.
Throttling down.
Hot swap successful.
Battery jettison confirmed.
As you've just heard, we've had successful battery hot swap. Electron's trajectory continues to look nominal as we hit 6 minutes and 50 seconds into this mission.
SECO confirmed.
Stage separation confirmed.
And we're going to transfer.
And there you have it. The kick stage is on its way to deliver the payloads to their individual orbits. For those of you who might be wondering what the kick stage is, here's a quick explanation of how this ingenious machine works to deploy payloads to orbit. Once the second stage takes us to an elliptical parking orbit, the kick stage separates and ignites its 3D printed Curie engine, circularizing the orbit. Using a cold gas reaction control system, the kick stage accurately orients itself to deploy each satellite to a specific orbit. Using this system, the kick stage is able to insert its payloads with precise orbits, even on rideshare missions with multiple satellites like this one. After deployment, the Curie engine reignites, propelling the kick stage to a lower orbit where it will be dragged into the Earth's atmosphere at a much faster rate, leaving behind nothing in orbit but our customers' satellites. Payload deployment is expected in the next hour or so, and we'll share confirmation on our Rocket Lab Twitter and Facebook accounts when we can. A final thank you to all of the small satellite operators on board this 12th Electron mission for choosing Rocket Lab as your mission partner. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and we'll see you again here soon. I'm Max Muncy, and until next time, this is Rocket Lab Mission Control signing off.